All right, hello and welcome to another episode of Two Dudes Different States. I'm Andrew,
I'm Zach.
and we have
I'm Demetri.
special guest Demetri here.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for coming on. You and I grew up loving Star Wars, so it was fitting that we talked some Star Wars together since we both really enjoyed this season of Mandalorian.
Yeah,
All three of us
yeah.
did. I should speak for all three
Yep.
of us.
I just want to say, Bennett, it's great to be back. My home setup after not being home for
Yeah.
a whole week because my mom had to quarantine. It's
Mhm.
great to be back.
That's good. Yeah, that was pretty scary for you for a minute there, but
Yeah.
I think The Mandalorian helped you get through it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did. I
Did you
did
forget
watch
all
it.
about it?
No. I watched it. I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like caught up with like all my shows now.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited. I can't wait to see. And with being gone for a whole week, we never really got to talk about like any of the stuff that Disney is coming out with in the next 5 or so years.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And I think because of the Mandalorian, Disney is like full steam ahead with all this stuff. So it's
Maybe.
going to be interesting to see where they go.
Last time they went full steam ahead, we ended up with the sequels. So
We won't talk about those.
To be fair, we also ended up with Marvel, and that was a big financial success, even though,
yeah,
in my opinion, those movies are largely forgettable. But
yes, they kind of are.
But they have the big graphic where they have like all the titles in space,
Mm-hmm.
and with the timeline.
Yeah,
what they're gonna do, and they did that with Marvel, and now I see that after The Mandalorian has finished, it seems that we're gonna have a new lineup of shows, and the future of Star Wars may just be shows. It might not even be movies.
I'm cool with that, honestly.
I'm down. The only thing is though, like I think all these new shows that they're coming out with are basically between Revenge of the Sith and the new prequel or the new sequels.
Okay.
So, not Revenge of the Sith. Technically the third movie, but it's the sixth movie.
Return of the Jedi.
Let me pull up the graphic here. I can look at it.
I think it's like all their new shows are going to be like based off of like between those. So
yeah, I mean that's like the I don't know, like uncharted territory kind of area that they still haven't really explored.
I question whether or not it's a good thing to project this far in advance what you're going to do, because it builds up people's expectations, but at the same time it's good for like shareholders and stuff. So I'm not.
Well, it was called the shareholders conference or whatever, wasn't it? And something like that. And when the Mandalorian show was first announced, I'm pretty sure it was announced. Maybe it was just a rumor that it was going to be about Boba Fett, and that got changed.
I think that was just the Star Wars. That was the Star Wars nerds.
That was the Mace Windu of theories.
Yes, I when I heard they were making a Mandalorian show, first of all, that's why I got Disney Plus. It's just for the Mandalorian and to see like what else they would do. But no, I think that was just a bunch of hullabaloo. I think they were like everyone knew that the Mandalorians were their own race, and Boba Fett and Jango Fett were an exception. So I think now they're just they're gonna focus just on the side characters instead of the actual like Skywalker lineage. Even though they did, spoiler alert, they did have Luke in the last episode of this season. So poorly done CGI Luke, but yeah.
You don't see him for very long, so
he looks better in Battlefront 2.
At times, yeah.
But again, to be fair, he was not talking in Battlefront 2.
Yeah,
it was the lips that really got me. Yeah. But as far as the Boba thing, I don't. Looking at this chart here where they're announcing all the shows, I don't think there's gonna be a Boba Fett show. I think they're gonna continue the Mandalorian and kind of abandon. What's the dude's name? Din.
Something like that.
What's his name? Din Djarin. Yeah, they're going to abandon him for a little bit, and then he will be a supporting role in Boba's chapter, because every episode is a chapter, and now it says the Book of Boba Fett.
Well, that's just going to be a mini series from what I've seen, It's only going to be like one season, maybe like 5 or 6 episodes, and I feel like that comes out after the 3rd season of The Mandalorian, because I think they've already confirmed that they're going to do season 3. So I think he's going to have like his own.
Didn't they both say it was December next year for both season 3 and Boba Fett?
Maybe. I don't know. They might. I mean, they did say. I mean, they released this season like a year after, the first season came out, and so now I think they're just like once they finish wrapping, the series or the season of season 2, they're just like, all right, let's just get into this. So now I think they're just filming, and they could be, ahead of schedule for all we know, and they might put it out before, or they might have it out at the same time. I don't think it's a really good idea to have it out at the same time. I think you should have it, maybe, halfway through the Mandalorian season, you should, put it out. But I don't think it's a good time, or it's a good thing to have them at the same time.
Yeah. And speaking of these like new series coming out that Disney's providing with more Star Wars content, but we're seeing a lot of the same actors coming back to play roles that they were in, a decade or more ago.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I was in the camp that when Luke was revealed this past episode for the finale, that I probably would have preferred it to just been recast by somebody over like a CG face. Because like I don't know if you guys saw the picture of the guy who actually played the guy who was the CG. He actually like looked really good. Like he probably could have like at least been the face for it right there in that moment.
That's what they do. Like when they're doing the face,
right?
De-aging. Like I saw like a little video of like how they did Leia back in Rogue One. So I mean, like I said to you, I think over text, I think they're gonna milk the shit out of everything they have. So that includes like Mark Hamill, and
I think he's fine with that.
Carrie Fisher. Now I mean, dude, he's probably still getting millions of dollars from the old movies too. So. Yeah. If they want to keep paying him, I guess. But, I agree. They should probably recast him. I just don't think people are ready to recast him.
I don't know.
I've seen theories of people like Sebastian Stan should be, the next Luke Skywalker. But, I think they should try and, pull away from that whole thing.
Yeah.
Like after the Obi-Wan series, I think they should, scoot away. Because I know, like, after seeing, like, a bunch of, like, videos and stuff, there were a multitude of Jedi that survived the Order 66, so, and they went into hiding, so.
Yeah.
That includes Mace Windu, Bennett.
No, it doesn't.
But no, it'd be interesting to see, what they do. And from what I've seen, what I saw today is with the new Ahsoka series that they're coming out with, General Thrawn, or Grand Master whatever his name is, Thrawn, he's going to be in that series, so we'll probably get Ezra from
a lot of people thought this was Ezra showing up here at the end. My brother-in-law said he for a split second he thought it might have been Ezra, and I said that probably would have actually been in a weird way, it would have been more interesting to see that happen right there, because I think seeing Luke was like a little was awesome, but it was like a little just convenient. But to see like a character that we don't really know where that character left off, and all of a sudden
Andrew, I told you 3 weeks before this episode aired, it has to be Luke because it's pottery and it rhymes. To have Luke save a Yoda person, Grogu,
right,
and then train him is you Star Wars is great, but it has a hard time branching out, so it has to always call back to old things. And if it's not going to call back to old things, it better deliver on something new, you know? So that's why George Lucas, that's his MO for the prequels. If it's poetry or pottery, whichever one you want to pick, it rhymes,
That actually, what you said there is such a great point. When Luke is just decimating those Dark Troopers, it is a fantastic callback to Rogue One, when his father, Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, is destroying the rebel troops.
Yeah.
in that hallway.
Mhm.
It's almost exactly the same, except not as Anakin
Grim.
Skywalker-y, but it was a great callback, and it was almost like I saw a video breaking all this down, and just like the way he was moving his lightsaber, and then even like to the part where he put the lightsaber behind his back and just deflected a blaster shot. That's like from Revenge of the Sith when Anakin's
Mhm.
taking out all the separatists and all that. So
Yeah.
like what you said, Demetri, with how if it's not broken, don't fix it. I think that's what that scene where he's cutting down all the dark troopers epitomized that the most.
Well, you also have to consider that George Lucas worked on this season. They brought him in.
Mhm.
So, of course, they're going to do callbacks, and of course, they're going to know they're going to have a better direction of what they're doing. This season of Mandalorian proved to everyone that no, the Force is not female. It's just what it was. It's not this new stuff. It's not the sequel stuff. It's the legacy matters. The legacy is tried and true. Don't fix it. Don't fix it. It's like give us better stories. Just give us the same but a little different. That's kind of what people want.
Yeah, that's true. It is. I mean, and I thought it was a great little moment in this finale episode where we have our Mando going off to stop the Dark Troopers alone and find Gideon. Well, I don't think he intentionally tried to find him, but we see like the other 4 characters who are all female together working their way through, and I was like, that's a better moment than anything we've gotten in the past, mostly when it comes to like pressuring these female characters to exist in the universe and be amazing. And then we have these 4 amazing ones who they're very much supporting characters in a lot of way, but like they're doing awesome things, and they're like they're awesome to watch, and I enjoyed those scenes.
But at the same time, they have limitations because they were genuinely afraid of the Dark Troopers coming through the door.
Right.
So it's not like they're infallible people, and that was actually, I think, the greatest strength of it all is that we know that something can go wrong. Because there have been, it's just they're people. They're not like
expendable in a way.
Jedi who could just do whatever.
I think scene with all the females was so much less forced than what we've seen in different shows and even movies. So like this one, it just felt like it was part of the show. Whereas when you get Endgame from Avengers and you had all the females team up, that felt really, really forced and cringy, in my opinion. And then even in The Boys, like it kind of like Avengers kind of like set the cringe and the unnecessary bar, and then it's slowly gone down from like what we've seen with like these superhero sci-fi type shows. So it was great to see like it wasn't forced, and how these people were able to do their own thing in that episode and take care of themselves and not need like a person rescuing them. So it was pretty cool.
You raise a really good point, because I think the difference lies in we know Cara Dune. We've seen her for a while. We've seen Bo-Katan in the other shows. So we kind of know these characters a little more than like the Marvel superheroes or the Boys superheroes. But even if you just contain it within that last season 2 episode of Mandalorian, you got to see a sort of progression of them working together. Cara Dune's gun jams, and like there's little moments like that, or they fall off the sides and then jetpack up and shoot the other stormtroopers or whatever. So you kind of work up to that sort of picture perfect frame where you have all the females in one frame. Whereas in the Avengers, it just felt like unearned because they just showed up, and none of those characters had ever talked to each other. And then you had the Boys, which was the exact same thing. It was, I forgot the characters' names, but
Starlight, what's her name? Maeve, and Kimiko.
Kimiko, that's right.
Yeah. I mean, but had Kimiko and Starlight ever had a conversation, or it just kind of felt weird. But to be fair to the Boys, it was like more satire, I think.
Yeah, it was.
No, it definitely was.
Yeah, it's the girls who have all the powers, and they're gonna beat the shit out of the Nazi female. So it was just kind of. I thought it was well done.
That was a hilarious scene.
Yeah.
Eat shit, you Nazi bitch.
Well, speaking of Nazis, Moff Gideon, uh, he purposely loses to Mandalorian, the Mando, or tries to kill him, but knows that when if he loses, that he's screwing over Bo-Katan, who knows, he knows she's after him, and the whole Darksaber saga continues. And Demetri, I talked to you briefly, and you said you didn't really understand the importance of it or the meaning of it, and I don't know, Zach, if you know a lot about it or if you watched anything about it.
I know a good amount.
Mm-hmm.
I know the tradition is if you win the saber in battle, it's yours.
Yeah.
And there's really no other way. But it kind of contradicts itself when you think back to, I don't know, have they confirmed if Rebels is canon or not?
Yeah, it is.
It is canon. So in Rebels,
It's supposed to be.
Yeah. So in Rebels, there's a scene where the daughter of one of them, of a Mandalorian, I can't remember, just gives the saber to Bo-Katan, and she accepts it. But now you have, Din Djarin that just gives the saber, that wants to give the saber to Bo-Katan, and she won't accept it.
Yeah.
So I don't know like how they're gonna do it. I guess they just need plot for the third season. But I mean, I can already tell you, like, the third season is gonna be mostly just a power struggle, I'm guessing, between Mando and Bo-Katan, because I feel like it's gonna a majority of it's gonna take place on Mandalore to retake the planet. So
maybe
I mean,
that would be cool. See a live action Mandalore.
Or it could be the old ways where Din Djarin grew up against the newer ways. Or
possible.
maybe they team up. I don't know. My guess is it's going to be a power struggle.
I think they're trying to leave their options open as much as they can. So
I saw something like I haven't watched the other two shows, Clone Wars or Rebels, but I saw someone.
Clone Wars,
I know. I need to get on it. I have a hard time divorcing myself from the Gendy cartoon from what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that to me is Clone
Original
Wars.
Canon.
I can't. It's hard. Yeah, right.
That's Cartoon Network.
I actually wanted to talk about the canons later, but someone had told me that there was some theory about how because Bo-Katan had accepted the Darksaber in the past, and it had apparently something catastrophic happened, and it traumatized her. So now she knows that. I mean, I don't know. That's what I've heard. It's maybe someone died or something after she gave it to her. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure exactly where it left off in Rebels and who was holding it last. But yeah, I think in most situations, I think it's supposed to be whoever wins in a duel is supposed to hold claim to it, and the person who holds it is supposed to be respected by Mandalorians. And
that person's supposed to be the ruler of Mandalore, because the Darksaber was originally given it, he was made by the first Vizsla of Mandalore, and he was the only one that used it, and then it was stored away. And I guess just over the years, it was just handed down to power to power.
Yeah.
So, but the fact, I think Demetri and I were talking about this earlier, but I think the fact that it just won't turn on, I don't think that's necessarily the truth. I think it's
more symbolic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It's symbolic.
It for sure works. I mean, it's not it has special magic in it. It's a lightsaber. So
I was getting Harry Potter vibes when Moff Gideon was saying, "Oh, it's about the mythology. It won't work without the mythology." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So
no, it makes sense.
Who is not,
yeah. It makes sense, but I think it's just more of a mindset type thing. It's just you won't be able to use its full potential unless you actually win it for yourself.
Yeah.
So that, I get the parallel with Harry Potter with the Elder Wand. I do get that, but I don't think this is the case. I think it's more of just it's in your head.
It's about the other Mandalorians having respect for you, because they're like a, through history there've always been like this, I guess, tribe or planet of people who have always, been have a lot of pride over like the fact that they like, are like champions of combat basically, and like for a long time they would like fight and kill each other just so that they could advance up their own ranks. It was very Roman in a way, almost.
I think they fought the Jedi back in the day.
Yeah, they fought the Jedi back in the day, and then they made a knockoff of their weapon to fight them back. I think that's a little funny, but it's cool. I mean, the Darksaber's cool. Looks cool.
And I don't know if you've watched the new Rockstars. Credit to them though. The new Rockstars breakdown for this past episode. Yeah, Bennett. They talk about like how when Din Djarin and the Mando was fighting Moff Gideon versus when Ahsoka was fighting that other chick with the spear, on how like when you saw Ahsoka fighting the chick, like the saber was just like it was just, or not the saber, the spear was just bouncing back and forth, and nothing changed the spear. But when you saw the sword against the spear, you could actually see the spear heating up or whatever, turning a different color. And I guess like the way that new Rockstars broke it down, it was the fact that the traditional lightsabers are more of like a tube. That way it just slides down the spear, instead of when you use the sword, it's like basically a knife going into something, and it acts as, and it sticks in it, and instead of just sliding down or moving up, it sticks in it and it starts to heat up the thing. And so I thought that was pretty cool.
So I've also heard rumors, or just people speculating, I guess. People think that Disney is going to decanonize the sequels. And I thought about that, and I read some other opinions on that. And apparently the ongoing theory is they're going to announce, or something's going to be apparent, that there are two timelines in Star Wars. One where Ahsoka exists, and one where Ahsoka doesn't exist. And the one where Ahsoka doesn't exist is the sequels. And the one where Ahsoka does exist is what we're seeing here in Mandalorian and the other two shows, Clone Wars and Rebels. Now, the way that they reconcile this is apparently, I think in Rebels they like ended up in the end of time or something. You've seen Rebels, right, Andrew?
Well, at the end of Rebels, it's Ahsoka versus Darth Vader, and the ending cutscene. But Ahsoka is pulled into like a wormhole type thing by Ezra, and so I guess like that's like, I guess like where she was, I can't remember correctly enough, but I think where Ezra pulls her into is like a really strong center for the Sith. So that's why there was a scene with Palpatine reaching into it. So I think that's where they're going to be maybe connecting the two different timelines. So I don't know.
In one timeline, the theory goes that Darth Vader does kill her, and then the other, she escapes through this time wormhole or whatever. Mm-hmm. Now, without Ahsoka, Mando has no means of finding Bo-Katan, which ultimately thwarts Moff Gideon's cloning efforts. So without Ahsoka, the cloning research on Force sensitives like Grogu is successful, and then you have Snoke. That's what the
I hate how
is.
Logical you're being right now.
But
that angers me.
I mean, it's just that's. Imagine if you had no Ahsoka, then you wouldn't have been able to stop Moff Gideon. You would not have had Luke thwart this cloning endeavor. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying this now. I'm putting it out there because I hope that happens. I want the sequels decanonized. I hate the sequels. I hate everything about them. So, and maybe that can also reconcile the Gendy cartoons that are like a third timeline. But that'd be cool too. So.
The hardcore nerds are the ones that are like the most vocal about it. I personally didn't prefer the most recent three. That's just my preference. I mean, I have no animosity towards them. I just didn't think they were that good. But I wonder who it runs by. Like, do you think it's just George Lucas that it runs by, or it's like a department in Disney that owns the rights to Lucasfilms that says, all right, this is canonized, this isn't canonized, like with all these things.
I don't think it's
That's
the
what I'm trying to
highest
figure
of the
out.
high.
You don't think? Mm. No, she should. No, she has no clue what she's doing.
Did you see that picture of it was like Filoni, Favreau, and George Lucas like all in a row sitting and doing Mandalorian work, and in the back, like in the dark, you had Kathleen Kennedy, just kind of like seething in the background.
I have not.
That gives me a comforting thought, in my heart.
My animosity towards her is just simply because of the Obi-Wan series. With how long it's taken to get out and how long it's taken to actually get approval, because I've seen just articles and articles of her being the one that has halted it and just basically said, no, we're not doing this, blah blah blah. So I just don't like her as a person and what she's done with the whole Star Wars universe, because it has potential to be just greatness, just absolute greatness, and you've seen it because of the Mandalorian. So just from her just saying no, we don't want to do this, it's super frustrating. Yes, it's from what I've seen, it has been confirmed. Yes, she is Hayden Christensen. Thank God he's coming back. So,
dude, that's gonna be hype.
I know. I wonder if it's gonna be, because I never knew if Darth Vader and Obi-Wan ran into each other before the fourth movie, or if it's just gonna be him flashbacking to like when they were younger or something like that.
I honestly hope they don't retcon that. I hope it's just kind of like the 30-year period or whatever it is of them not seeing each other, because I like the idea of Obi-Wan retreating away, kind of becoming a hermit and mastering the Force in the process, and then Maul comes up and dies.
Yeah.
That's
well, you're gonna have to have that scene.
Yeah.
Of Maul and Obi-Wan meeting after 20 plus years. So you're gonna definitely have to have that. But from what I've seen, it's only gonna be like a limited series. It's gonna be like that Book of Boba Fett. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting couple of years for Star Wars. I think there's just gonna be a lot of new stuff, and I think we're gonna get a lot of mixed mixed opinions on what's coming out and whether or not it's kind of just being rushed out. And my dog has a lot of opinions about it too. So
Gavin needs to chill out.
And um, so yeah, it's gonna be a interesting few years, and I'm excited for it.
I think if they decanonize the sequels and then they can fine tune the existing material from the comics and the other extended universe stuff, we can have a really good product. I mean, that's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah,
I hope that Filoni can kind of pick and choose out of the other stuff, you know.
In a funny way, you know, they really do need to just go the Marvel route, where it's like look at the stuff that already exists and adapt with that kind of stuff with the books and the comics and whatnot, and you know, make it your own, but like make sure it stays true to like how characters typically are. Like if we have like Thrawn show up in a future show, like he should be this intimidating guy who like always has, you know, A through Z plans going on at the same time, and can never really be pinned down at once. You know, he just needs to be a complex villain.
Yeah.
What they need to do is take Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau, lock them in a room, and just say, this is your job for the next 5 years. Because Dave Filoni, with what he did with Clone Wars, and then Jon Favreau with what he's done so far with The Mandalorian, man, I don't think they can do wrong. They're probably the two most qualified people to do a Star Wars expanded universe.
Well, yeah, one of the most frustrating things was you had Star Wars in the wrong hands, and Andrew, they did actually try to adapt some elements of the extended universe into the sequels. I have in my entire life read one Star Wars comic when I was a very young boy. Okay, I went to the library. I got a comic called Dark Empire. I remember it very vividly. I don't know if you know about Dark Empire.
A little bit.
But it was very good. It was basically a sequel to what happened after the second Death Star's destruction. And it was a plot line of how Palpatine had... Well, Luke was kind of doing some dark side stuff. Vader shows up as a ghost. But the thing that the sequels tried to emulate was Palpatine had done that cloning program on himself.
Yep, I think I've told you this before, Bennett.
Yeah, and so he ends up finding like a bunch of Palpatine clones, and it's epic.
Yeah,
you know. Like, but then you have Snoke. Who cares about Snoke? You know.
I think I think the funniest thing is about that is when Revenge of the Sith came out, George Lucas told the guy who played Palpatine, Ian McDermott? No, I don't know. He told him, he goes, you were a great Palpatine, but this is like the last movie you're in. And then all of a sudden he gets a call and be like, hey, you're going to be Palpatine again. He's like, what? George told me this was like the last movie. So I thought that was pretty funny. And I guess like one of the TV show or one of the series that they're doing is like those people in the last movie where you just see like in the big Coliseum, like the Sith people all in the stands. I guess they're doing a show about them. So that's going to be interesting because I have no clue. But I actually remember reading that same comic book though. That was pretty, like he was able to like transcend like his life force / force Sith energy into another body, so basically he was the same exact person.
Yeah, he's like, I've died multiple times. I've been politically assassinating on Coruscant when I was chancellor, and I'm just like reading this as a kid, like, what? This is crazy.
Yeah, it's dark.
So I don't know. I kind of want the sequels to be decanonized so I can see Grogu not die in Luke's school, and then later, and then I want Luke to do some Dark Empire stuff. That'd be really cool. What we really need, and I'm looking at this list here for the new shows. I don't understand what some of these are. I don't know what the Visions are, Andor. I think
that's what the Sith sympathizers are. I think that's going to be that show.
The Visions?
Yes.
Okay. I don't see Old Republic.
Oh no, dude, they won't do that.
They've been working on what's referred to as the High Republic. I think they announced it like over a year ago, which is going to be mostly books, but it is canon, which takes place about like 300 years before like Phantom Menace or something like that. Um, where it's going to be like kind of like this, much more like old westy kind of vibe to like the era of like kind of like a new frontier kind of vibe where they're kind of like expanding out to planets and there's like tons of Jedi and stuff like that. So I don't know if they'll ever go backwards 1,000 or so years to an old republic, but they might like go far enough back to where like they can just say, what happens in the future, but we can like kind of start writing our own stuff now. And I think they're trying to create like a backlog of like written stuff before they start putting it on screen. So that way they like kind of have something to base it all off of, rather than just going off of just kind of a single writer in a room. Because then I think you end up in a Game of Thrones situation, which I feel like Mandalorian at this point is kind of the new Game of Thrones, where people are kind of talking about it every week when it's out, and if when there's an episode that's poorly written, the internet screams about it.
Yeah. I want to see, because those trailers from 10 years ago, 9 years ago, whatever, on the Old Republic, I mean, that's some of the best Star Wars material ever made.
Yeah, it's great.
And I think it'd be really cool if they can do something of that caliber. And if they can do something like that in a 300-year flashback instead of a 1,000-year one, I'd be happy with that too. I'd love to see Darth Malgus or whatever his name is, the thing with the guy with the thing on his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be cool. A High Republic show. That's cool.
Darth Plagueis the Wise.
That would be epic.
I mean, he might be alive.
Seeing Palpatine grow up.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah. We could see how we could see him like practicing his evil voice in the mirror. How am I going to sound when I ultimately have my own apprentice?
When I kill Mace Windu.
Yeah, right.
Now.
Are you threatening me, Master Jedi? It's treason.
All right, you guys have any last thoughts or just Palpatine quotes?
We've been talking
Mace
about
Windu is still
random
alive.
Star Wars stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Mace Windu is still alive.
He's not.
No.
I can guarantee you.
He got
I can
thrown out of a
guarantee
skyscraper.
He'll be in the Ahsoka series.
Dude, that would suck.
Happens.
That would really
gets his
feel
own
like Star
series.
Wars is creatively bankrupt.
All right.
I think that'd be the downfall of Star Wars.
But Zach, to your point, nobody's ever really gone.
Yeah. God, dude, Bennett, send him that video of that guy explaining how Mace Windu is still alive.
I really don't want to, but I will.
He'll get a crack out of that.
That was prior to the ending of this show, so there's probably theories about how the season will end in it, so I don't know.
Fair enough.
Might not play as well. But
All right.
Andrew, which one do you think is better, season 1 or season 2?
Oh, season 2.
Oh, man.
By a mile.
Season 2?
Yeah.
I agree.
For sure.
Yeah, episode to episode was just like way better. There was times where I was like, I was always interested, but after the episode would like finish, I was like, what really happened? Like when he was like on that ice planet, like that was awesome, and I liked seeing like the horde of spiders going after him, and the 2 X-wings chasing him, and then eventually rescuing him. But I'm like, what really happened there? Like he just got detoured, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically all that was.
It makes the detours feel earned, as part of the narrative.
Right.
It felt like a video game, really, just side quest after side quest, and it kind of that's cool,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Other than this finale, I think my favorite moment was in the first episode when he's on, I guess Tatooine, and he meets that one guy with the Boba Fett armor, and they decide to like go.
Timothy Olyphant.
Yeah, they go speed off somewhere, and you see Mando on his speeder, and then you see Timothy Olyphant pull up on his speeder, and it's like the engine from Anakin's old pod racer.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was
I remember that.
I was like, that's cheeky, and I like that.
I think my favorite episode was what's it, the second to last one, where it was focused on Bill Burr's character the most.
That was good.
And how you could actually like see Mando's, beliefs start to change even more, just taking off his helmet, for the sake of everything. And even Bill Burr's character, just like how like emotional he got, and how like you could tell that the one guy he was talking to was really causing him problems. So I thought that whole episode I think was pretty cool. Like the chase scene with the pirates and thermal detonators, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Still think it needs more lightsabers, but
nope. I like the old Westy vibe to it.
Yeah, I want the westerns. I want like a John Wayne type.
You brought another point up, real quick, that they get to expand on in like a season 3, is that he takes his helmet off in that Imperial base, and like the scanner recognizes him. And I don't know if we got any backstory in the first season. I haven't watched it since it came out, about like him being a member of the Empire or something like that, or being someone who worked in the Empire, because he.
Are you talking about Bill Burr?
No, I'm talking about Mando. He takes off.
No, that was a scanner to see if you were a criminal or not.
Oh, that was all? I thought it.
Yeah.
I thought
there's kind of a little hole in that writing. Yeah, there's a small hole there. Like, okay, anyone can just show up as long as you're not a criminal.
That was kind of just like out there to dry, but yeah, that was just mostly for criminals. And apart from like Boba Fett, his face is probably one of the most known faces in the galaxy. So unless they just completely scrapped that idea and scrapped the old troopers, or they just died, I don't know.
Oh, also, I didn't know if you guys realized this, but Boba Fett's in the final episode, but he jets off before Luke gets there, and Luke's the reason he ends up in the Sarlacc pit.
He jetted off? Oh, yeah.
So they were literally minutes away from meeting each other again.
Oh,
dude, Luke probably knew. Luke was like, I don't have time for this guy.
Yeah.
You think he knew? You think he knew he was going to be there? Or
no.
He's just saving his own ass?
Dude, he's a Jedi Master. He's the most powerful Jedi at this point, right? He's got to be more in tune with everything. I mean, dude, if something as ambiguous as the Force, you can do anything you want,
That's fair enough. All right. I think that's it for this week.
Yep. We'll see y'all next week. This is Two Dudes, Different States signing off.